So welcome you all to the online botany classes. Today we will study about the sexual reproduction, its definition and the various events that occur during the sexual reproduction process. In the previous video I had explained about asexual reproduction. Hope you have all gone through that video. Okay, now come to the definition of sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? It is nothing but the process in which the haploid gametes fuse to form a diploid zygote, and this fusion process is known as fertilization. So the process in which the two haploid sex cells, which we call as gametes, they fuse to form a diploid zygote is known as your sexual reproduction. Got it? So during sexual reproduction, fusion of two haploid sex cells occur. As a result of this fertilization process, that fusion process, a diploid zygote is formed. Then this particular diploid zygote later forms an embryo, and that embryo through series of developments gives rise to a new individual. Got it? This is what a sexual reproduction is. This is what the process of sexual reproduction involves. Okay. When we divide the lifespan of an individual, you know, already I have told you regarding the lifespan. What is lifespan in the previous video? Got it? So when we describe or divide the lifespan of an individual, it can be divided into two phases. First phase is known as vegetative phase or juvenile phase, and second phase is reproductive phase. So what is that juvenile phase? It is the non-reproductive phase till the attainment of maturity. Okay, during this phase only the vegetative growth of an individual occurs. Got it? Then the second phase is the reproductive phase. It marks the end of juvenile phase. Okay. Now the switchover from the vegetative phase to the reproductive phase is controlled by several environmental factors as well as hormones. Got it? In case of higher plants, as we are concerned about botany, so in case of higher plants, the reproductive phase is marked by flower production. Got it? Now come to the next slide. Well, as you have already known that the sexual reproduction involves three phases. What are those phases? The phase before fertilization, then the fertilization process, then post-fertilization phase. Got it? So we know that sexual reproduction is the process in which the two haploid gametes fuse to form a diploid zygote. So now the entire process of sexual reproduction can be divided into three phases. First one is pre-fertilization phase, second one is fertilization, third one is post-fertilization phase. So what is pre-fertilization phase? We will come one after another. Pre-fertilization phase. Pre-fertilization, that means before fertilization, what happens? You know what happens in fertilization? Two haploid gametes fuse. So what happens before fertilization? Well, before fertilization, two events occur. What are those? One is gametogenesis, that is production of gamete, the male gamete and female gamete, and gamete transfer. These are the two events that occur during the pre-fertilization event. First one is gametogenesis, second one is gamete transfer. Now let us come to gametogenesis. What is gametogenesis? It is the process of formation of male and female gametes. Okay, in this process male and female gametes are produced. Now gametogenesis can be divided into two types or two phases. One is spermatogenesis, that is formation of male gamete, and another one is your oogenesis, that is formation of female gamete. Spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Got it? So the male gamete formation process is known as spermatogenesis, and the female gamete formation process is known as oogenesis. Now you know that all the gametes are haploid. Always the haploid gametes are formed. Got it? Now, well, as far as gametes are concerned, gametes can be of following types: isogametes, anisogametes. Okay. In case of isogametes, iso means similar, aniso not similar. So isogametes are here both male and female gametes are motile and identical. Motile means they are capable of moving from one place to another, okay, with the help of locomotor organs such as flagella, and identical in shape. Isogametes, in case of isogametes, both male and female gametes are identical in shape, size and structure, and both of them are motile. For example, eulothrix. Next one is anisogametes. Here both the gametes are motile, okay, but the male gametes are smaller than the female gametes. Anisogametes, not iso, okay. So both the gametes are motile, but the male gametes are smaller than the female gametes. Example is Chlamydomonas. Got it? Now next one is oogametes. Here the female gamete, which we know as egg, is larger and non-motile, produced in specialized structure called oogonium. What is that called? Oogonium. Okay. Here this is called oogonium. Now male gamete is smaller and motile. That means male gamete can move with the help of flagella and produced inside this specialized structure called antheridium. Okay, now this is an improved one, more advanced one. Example is Vaucaria and Oudogonium. Vaucaria and Oudogonium. So what are oogametes? In case of oogametes, the female gamete or egg is larger and non-motile, produced in specialized structure called oogonium, whereas the male gamete is smaller and motile, produced in specialized structure called antheridium. Got it? Then in higher plants such as gymnosperms and angiosperms, male gametes develop within the pollen grains, and the egg, that is the female gamete, lies in embryo sac within the ovule. Got it? Here the male gamete is produced in more specialized structure called pollen grains. Got it? Now, and the egg is produced in more specialized structure called embryo sac, okay, within the ovule. So these are the various types of gametes. So now your first stage is completed, that is the gametogenesis. Already gametes are formed. Now gametes need to get transferred. So what is that gamete transfer? Now for the reproduction to occur, both male and female gametes need to get fused so that fertilization will occur, isn't it? Now look, in various types of gametes we had studied, some of them were in some of the cases both the gametes were motile, in some one gamete was motile whereas other gamete was non-motile. So how the fertilization will occur? So for example, in case of some algae, both the gametes are motile, got it, and are released in water. Now both move towards each other chemotactically. Chemotactically means due to secretion of some chemical substances. They are attracted towards each other and move towards each other. Now ultimately they meet and fusion takes place. Now in case of seed plants, the higher plants, male gametes are present in pollen grains. Okay. Now pollen grains are first carried by pollination, that is transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma, that is called pollination. So once they reach the stigma, they germinate. That you will study in details in the next videos regarding the sexual reproduction in case of angiospermic plant. That we will study in details. So what happens in seed plants? Here the male gamete that is present in pollen grains are taken and they reach to the stigma, they fall on the stigma by the process of pollination. There they germinate to produce pollen tube. Got it? Now the pollen tube reach the ovule and release the male gametes into it. There the egg is present, and with the egg the male gamete fuses and the fertilization takes place. Got it? So it's a complicated process that we will study in the next class, coming classes. Got it? So this is how the gamete transfer takes place. Now you have already understood why gamete transfer is required, because fertilization for the reproduction to take place, both the gametes need to meet each other. And how they will meet? by the process of gametic transfer. Either both the gametes, if both the gametes are motile, then they will move towards each other and fusion takes place. And if one gamete is motile and another one is non-motile, the motile gamete will be taken to the female gamete or the egg, so that fusion will take place. Got it? By various processes. Okay, now after the gametes have been transferred, fertilization will take place. So what is that process of fertilization? It is nothing but fusion of male and female gametes, fusion of male and female gametes to produce a diploid zygote. It's called fertilization. You know that male and female gametes, both of them are haploid. They fuse to produce a diploid zygote by the process of fertilization. Got it? Now this fertilization can be external as well as internal. What is that external and internal? In case of external fertilization, fertilization occurs outside the body of the organism, as in case of algae, fishes, okay, as well as amphibians such as frogs. Got it? In case, what happens in case of external fertilization? In case of external fertilization, the fusion or the fertilization takes place outside the body of the organisms. Okay, they release large number of gametes to external medium, or that is water, to enhance the chances of fertilization. In case of external fertilization, what happens? Large number of gametes are released to the external medium. External medium means your water here, to enhance the chances of fertilization. But in case of internal fertilization, the fertilization occurs inside the body of the organism. Okay, inside the body of the organisms. Now fertilization has been completed. So we had already discussed that there are 3 steps in sexual reproduction: pre-fertilization event, fertilization, then post-fertilization. Post-fertilization means events that are occurring after fertilization. So what happens after fertilization takes place? Now after the fertilization has already been completed, what will be the resultant of fertilization? A zygote. Then that zygote will develop to form embryo. Okay, we will not study in details about it. Just I am going to give you preliminary ideas about zygote and embryo. Okay. Now zygote is a diploid structure. How it is formed? By the fusion of male and female gametes. Got it? Now as far as embryo is formed, it is formed from the zygote, and the process through which embryo is formed from the zygote is called embryogenesis. Got it? In case of plants, the embryo develops in the ovule inside the ovary. Ovule is present inside the ovary. So in case of plants, the embryo develops in the ovule inside the ovary. Then these ovules develop into seeds and ovary into fruits. So what are seeds? They are nothing but the matured ovule or ripened ovule. Okay. And what are fruits? They are nothing but the matured ovary. Okay, ripened ovary. Got it? But in case of animals, the development of zygote into embryo may occur outside or inside the body of the parent. Okay, in case of animals, it is something different. We are not going into the details of animals your reproduction. Here we are concerned about plant reproduction, mostly angiospermic plant reproduction, sexual reproduction in case of angiospermic plant. But as the term has come, now let us know that in case of animals, the zygote, development of zygote into embryo may occur outside or inside the body of the parent. Got it? Now, in case of oviparous organisms, you have heard oviparous organisms, the development of embryo occurs outside the body of the female parent. So they lay eggs. So egg laying animals are nothing but oviparous organisms. Got it? Here the development of embryo occurs outside the female. Here embryo receives nourishment from the yolk of the egg. Whatever nourishment is required for the development of embryo into a full organism, that nourishment comes from your yolk of the egg, the yellowish part of the egg, okay, yolk of the egg. These are found in case of reptiles and birds. Some other organisms called as viviparous organisms, viviparous, viviparous organisms. Here zygote develops into embryo inside the uterus of mother's body. Okay, here the embryo receives nourishment from the mother's blood through placenta. Mammals, in case of mammals, what happens? The zygote develops inside the embryo, zygote develops into the embryo inside the uterus of the mother's body. Okay, so this is what the sexual reproduction is all about. So what we have studied today? We have studied about the process of sexual reproduction, definition, what sexual reproduction means, and the various events that make up the sexual reproduction. We have divided the sexual reproduction into 3 phases: pre-fertilization phase, fertilization, then post-fertilization phase. Okay, pre-fertilization phase involves the production of gametes or formation of gametes. That includes, gametogenesis and your gamete transfer, isn't it? Then fertilization event is nothing but the fusion of gamete into zygote, fusion of gamete to form zygote. That is your fertilization event. Then post-fertilization is very simple one. Is nothing but the the development of zygote into embryo. Got it? So this is what your sexual reproduction is all about. So in the next class we will study about the sexual reproduction in case of angiospermic plant. Okay, thank you.